Picture this. It's November 5th, 2024. Americans everywhere are lining up to cast their vote for their next president. Then they're going home to anxiously sit, staring at their screens to witness blues and reds gradually appear all over the United States map.
I have children and I have a cat, and I will be watching with my Xanax and my bottle of Sauvignon Blanc.
And while we're already aware who it is that won this particular election, the collective's outrage was only getting started.
Men, all of you.
You're ugly.
I'm done with you and your mother and your sister. I'm just done with all of this.
You deserve to by my hands. More specifically, by the rake that's in my hand that I'm using as a bludgeon.
Dating men, stop having sex with men, stop talking to men, divorce your husbands, leave your f***ing boyfriends, leave them.
What the f***? Why? Do you really hate me that bad?
We should now rename America Hell.
Forgive me for being a little emotional here.
It's kind of fun.
Which leaves me with one very important question. Are y'all okay? Hey, hi, hello, what's up? What it do, soul fam? Welcome down my little rabbit hole on the internet. This is K&M Witchery, and I am Kat Nicoletta Monroe. I also happen to be a psychic medium. So it's no surprise that I received an ample amount of questions from my clients, patrons, friends, and family alike asking me what is going on? All for me to then turn around and say, it's all part of the plan. Now, the way that this plan is unfolding is definitely not at all how it is that I personally wish to see it. Alas, here we are. Yes, as per the title of this video, this is a spiritual revolution. Although there are really questionable ways, I believe, in my personal opinion, that we're really going about to inflict change onto this earth. Over the last week, there has been a documented rise in rhetoric online, which only encourages further violence between men and women and non-binary folk alike. This is only being amplified by social media algorithms. Now, personally, this to me is not at all about any political parties. Frankly, I don't care whose quote-unquote side you're on. What I do care about is that it's happening at an alarming rate, and frankly, I'm not sure if the outcome is going to be as great and grand as people are expecting to while riddled in rage. There have been countless tweets, threads, TikToks, etc. made to combat and attack the rights of women, saying things like, your body, my choice, which is absolutely inappropriate. Only then fueling the outrage from women and men whom stand by their women. This only amplifies threats of violence even more. And I think this is a serious conversation we need to have. A lot of people right now are fueling these arguments as feminine rage, and thus we must fight on. But threatening grape and Mordor isn't the freaking way to do it.
I will this whole place to the ground.
Now, once upon a YouTube video, I'd done a world predictions segment, I suppose, on this particular election. I had mentioned that even if Trump was to win, it would be very temporary, as there seems to be a surprise stand-in and something about a VP. See it here. That's likely because Biden isn't really winning right now. I'm not an American, by the way. I'm just throwing that out there. Funnily enough, when it comes to the US election, since we're on this topic, I received a really interesting download that neither Biden nor Trump is in fact going to win. There's going to be like this surprise third party that came in the way. There's something about like a VP or something. I don't know if that's like vice president or like, I don't know. I'm not a political person, but nevertheless, there is going to be some sort of like a stand-in, and if either one of them, like Trump or Biden, win, it's going to be very temporary. So I'm not really sure what all of this means, but we'll see in due time. Now, I do admit that perhaps I got some of my quote-unquote puzzle pieces wrong, as initially the stand-in I believed was Kamala. And I, like many other psychics and astrologers, believed that she would in fact win. So it has me posing the question, what is really going on and how did so many of us get this wrong? But the future isn't always as easily predicted, as I often remind y'all and my clients, of course, that free will is the biggest contributor to our overall outcomes. And so the general public decided Trump won. Now, I do honestly believe, without facts, just solely prediction, that his presidency will not actually meet the full term. We're going to see in due time if in fact that is true. I don't know for sure, but hey, I'm going to speak on the predictions that I consistently have. But these arguments right now are posing serious threats and concerns to me, as media is only going to continue to fuel the segregation between everybody. Because now it's not just about cis men against cis women. No, we're bringing in racism. We're bringing in religion. We're bringing in a huge factor that's really designed to keep all of us apart. So instead of actually fueling this rage and using it more productively, like let's say writing into your state's governors about your concerns, no, we're taking it out on each other instead and only amplifying the hatred and confusing it as healthy anger.
Thank you so much. We love you so much.
I don't love you.
But we love you.
I don't love you.
I hope God helps you.
I do not want your love. I want you to find yourself in a Princess Diana car accident.
Now, I've seen many threads about this as well. I am not on X or Twitter, whatever it's called nowadays. We're seeing an amplified amount of people coming up saying that this feminine rage is really good, that we must stand against the man. And now we're threatening divorce, we're threatening celibacy, we're threatening everything we possibly can to protect our own autonomy. Now, as a woman whom has been celibate for almost going on to 8 years now, I stand by the 4B movement. What I can't stand by is doing it for the wrong reasons. Now, I understand the anger. I get it.
I know. I got it. I got the concept.
I understand wanting to protect your rights. That is not at all one thing that I am ever going to stand against. But we have to stop taking it out on people who don't fully deserve it. Again, this is more than just a vote. This is now a collective shadow and feminine wounding coming to light, expressing our fears and anger and victimhood in a way that will catalyze more violence against our opposing gender. This is where it becomes a freaking problem, because as opposed to all of us standing together and actually moving towards a new earth that will bring in more love, light, positivity, and all of that, we're looking to actually off each other instead. Now, this is not at all a light and love type of account, okay? Because I definitely believe in doing that shadow work, but when we have an amplified amount of anger and we're confusing that through hatred, I have a problem with that. Anger tells us that there needs to be a boundary that is set. And yet so many people are claiming that in form of dictatorship. We are now demanding respect in such a dangerous way that takes away from a possible peaceful outcome later. If you're going to do 4B, which by the way, anyone who doesn't know, 4B originated in South Korea, and the 4Bs stand for no dating, no marriage, no childbearing, and no sex with men. I'm all for it. Again, I was inadvertently kind of living this 4B movement lifestyle anyways, but the difference is I did it for myself. The spiritual revolution is a personal one, just like boundaries. As opposed to being dictative and telling people as of now, this is how it's going to be or else, we are supposed to go inwards and actually instill changed behavior in hope for an outcome to occur. And if that outcome does not occur, that is when we remove ourselves from the situation. We become the boundary, we become the upholder of respect. And that is how our external realities begin to reflect our internal changes. So what are we doing right now? Chopping off our hair, causing damage and disarray to people's mental and emotional and physical health, threatening people, and then saying this is just feminine rage. This is the rise of the feminine. Are y'all okay? That's incredibly manipulative, and it's not helping anybody. Believe me.
I am not part of this fucking trend. Stop. Stop. There are people that have lost their hair, like me, and it has been devastating. You guys stop. This is ridiculous. I'm not part of this trend. Not part of it. I have alopecia. But you guys claim to be so caring and kind, but look what you're doing. You guys are not realizing that you are triggering people that have lost their hair, that have cancer. Shaving your head because you think you've lost your rights. You didn't lose your rights. You guys are a bunch of crybabies, just like I'm being right now, because you guys have started a trend that is now affecting people like me and people that have cancer. Good job, assholes.
Media wants us segregated. Media wants us fighting each other because if we're so busy doing that, we're distracted from what's really going on in the world. And let's face it, right now, more than ever, society needs to band together to stop wars, to stop segregation, to stop racism, to stop sexism. We need to stand together, and yet we are becoming a byproduct of exactly the thing that we are wishing and wanting to dismantle. So make it make sense. Now, I am by no means also telling y'all to not be angry. Anger is incredibly healthy. Anger tells us exactly how it is that our boundaries have been crossed, and it amplifies our need to instill change. What I'm saying is, though, the spiritual revolution part and the spiritual war that is taking place is having us completely discombobulate and confuse that as external change before the internal can ever occur. This is a grand opportunity for us to go inward and heal ourselves, to look into all of the wounding, not just by our lifestyles and how we were raised up as, but countless generations before us that had us really fall under the illusion that men are not allowed to have feelings and women, well, we're only good for childbearing and kitchen duty. Come on. This is the age of Aquarius. It's something that you've probably heard many astrologers and psychics alike tell y'all. We are now moving into what is going to be an era of humanitarianism, but with creation of a new world order in a more positive light, where we're welcoming each other and loving each other and able to actually survive off of this planet as we have always been intended to in a healthy way. We are only feeding into the propaganda and hatred, which is ultimately going the opposite direction. But with creation, to my previous point before I digress even further, we require that destruction. We require the dismantling of old beliefs, of limiting decisions, and all past patterns that have only continued to recycle the very thing that we're working so hard right now to move away from. So by all means, use this rage, but do your best to also use it proactively, safely, and not risk other people's lives and emotional safety. Sure, y'all can tell me, oh, well, the man deserves it, and they've done this and this to women forever, so your immediate solution is to give them exactly the taste of their own medicine? We know the damage that that has done to us. And frankly, there are very good men and good women out here who have been doing that work, who want to be loving, whom I've also had the privilege to meet in front of and help be an ally to. I have seen grown men cry and heal themselves from all of the pain and hurt from emotional suppression, which only induced a lot more negative reactions. And with that wonderful bout of self-awareness that we all have the opportunity right now to actually take accountability for, they chose to go inwards. And I'm just lucky enough that they chose me to help them through. Now, I'm by no means clinical. I'm not at all a therapist, as much as I call my service intuitive therapy. My hypnotherapy and neurolinguistic programming and intuition alike is designed to help y'all with the practical tools of really becoming more human, ultimately. I help humanize people, and I help people get into their authenticity and just be good people, however it is that they define themselves as a good person. But we can't expect people to just become the change that we want them to be, because we can't control other people. And feeding into the narrative that we must then use this rage to then control another is delusional. It's delusional.
We should just start leaving our dirty tampons everywhere. Because if men want so much control over us, they can deal with our dirty tampons. Clean it up. No, but genuinely, I was trying to think, like, what revenge sounds the most satisfying right now? And I kind of just want to fling dirty tampons at men's cars, their trucks. Ooh.
And we have to stop calling it spiritual bypassing too. If spiritual bypassing means amplifying violence, so be it. I want zero part of it personally. I have done enough healing on myself as a woman whom too has been oppressed. I'm not talking about being white. I understand I'm very privileged in that regard, with all due respect, okay? But as it comes to being a woman, I too understand what it is to be threatened with SA. And I'm sorry, but for me to take this anger out and all of a sudden start saying things like I'ma see a man and put a Glock to his head is not healthy. Matter of fact, it actually amplifies the risk of their defense back onto us. And notice how the cycle repeats itself. The internet is not a safe place for me right now personally. It was incredibly triggering for me to just want to be part of a really good community. I love Threads personally, but right now it triggered my avoidance reaction. I said, no, I can't do this. I cannot be a part of this and try to be manipulated to believe that this is some form of spiritual revolution in a toxic manner. The spiritual revolution starts with every single one of us. And there are many people out here who recognize that. This is a fact that is not going to go viral. It's not going to be tangible. It's not going to be seen. What it is going to be felt by every single person and individual who wants to take responsibility for their lives. If you want to make the changes and you want to move countries, go ahead and do that. Stop listening to people telling you that it will never happen. I've done that ample times. During and again during a war in Ukraine where I moved next door. I live in Poland, by the way. All of this is absolutely possible. You can gain autonomy for yourself and regain that personal power regardless of what your gender is. Love on yourself a little bit more. Disconnect from toxic relationships if you must and focus inward. Love yourself. Take yourself out. Remove the narrative that you're going to be forever alone, because that's really far from the truth. We are now able to cultivate a new sense of community and being there for each other in a way that society has never known before. In a way that we're able to actually stop the wars that are happening as opposed to amplifying them and creating them in our own backyards. Can we please wake up and realize what is happening right now? If you fell for the rage, I completely get it. It is a very human thing to be triggered and want to take it out on another person. But please stop yourself before you actually inflict some serious damage that I know so many of y'all empathic souls will regret and live with for the rest of your life. This is the collective shadow and wounding coming to light for us to caress and hold and bring inward and actually attempt to the very best degree that we possibly can to heal, to move past, so that we no longer repeat those patterns which right now are being repeated. And maybe this is preaching. Forgive me, but I cannot stand for this personally. And if that means I'm going to lose some respect from people who just want to create more chaos and misery for other people, so be it. Goodbye, because that's not a group that I wish to be a part of. If we can take that anger and we can release it in a healthy manner and thus create the change that we desperately need, not through suppressing our emotions even further or pretending like it doesn't exist, but actually using that as a catalyst to say, no more, I am changing from here on out. I am going to do whatever it is that I can in my power to take responsibility for my own autonomy, for my own life, for how it is that I wish to live. That is going to reap a lot more rewards, because when we actually move through integrity and intention, that creates more solidified change than whatever this performance is. There is no threat to you beyond the one that is being manipulated through media and through misogynistic podcasts like the Tater Tots in the world, and you're just drinking that up. Stop it.
Get some help.
Now, there are really only two ways that we can go. We evolve or we repeat. What I am seeing right now through my psychic eye are more men, yes, men, seeking positive emotional support. And that has to come from women also allowing that. As much as we are upset at the oppression from men, we must also realize that men have too been oppressed in their own ways. Because another thing that I'm also seeing on this good old internet are women completely denying men from speaking their truth too. There is a more positive future and acceptance and allowance thereof for change to occur. And so more men are going to be seeking therapeutic measures to become healthier emotionally and spiritually. Women, more of y'all are in fact going to go down the 4B route. Now, it pains me to report, as per my prediction, that most of these individuals will not actually last and keep on their 4B movement word. By that, I mean when you are doing things for reasons that are not for yourself truly, in other words, we're doing it to manipulate and cause men pain, you're going to inevitably make it harder on yourself. That being said, those whom do stick to the 4B, who regain their power through their own healing, through loving themselves, through doing that difficult work, and definitely moving past wounding of abandonment and neglect, are going to see remarkable changes. And that will equal really great partnership in the future. I genuinely do see this world being a better place for all of us. And I hate to say that it's going to require that much more destruction. And sometimes we do have to rip ourselves apart in order to put ourselves together again. But what I can say, at least through my own efforts and experiences and my own healing and the healing that I have been, again, privileged to witness in so many others, it is possible. And it has to start with us. That is the true meaning of the spiritual revolution. It is personal for it to then be societal. For us to create a world that is loving, accepting, wealthy, and possible for us to live in, it requires us individually making the right choices for ourselves and thus our community alike. This definitely also involves topics like climate change as well. Notice how if we all take the right steps individually, that we collectively make a difference. And we are at this junction in our lives that things are going to get worse before they get better. And unfortunately, a lot of people require that to finally get their aha moment and choose a path of change. But it is possible. And maybe I'm Delulu. So be it. I would rather continue on this belief and continue doing the hard work and noticing and using my discernment to realize who is good for me and who is toxic, and removing myself from situations that I do not wish to experience. This by no means is victim shaming, as bad things can happen to good people. What I'm here to remind y'all is you are good people. So please stop doing bad things just because you're having a temper tantrum right now. And the causes and reasons for your anger are valid. Please just do good with that, versus instill more pain and torture, because we have enough of that and we've lived through enough of that already. It is time for change. We must also remember that our governments are for the people, not the other way around. So if there are demands that you would like to make politically, please take stand. Continue protesting. Make those phone calls. Write your concerns in. Start anything you possibly can legally to be seen and heard, because violence is not the way. It will only limit our free speech and ability to actually create impactful, positive change. It has to start with all of us. So stop giving attention to all of the negativity and all of the podcasters and really rude people on the internet. Stop feeding the algorithm more of a reason for it to keep expanding this type of content. Instead, please like this video. Please share it along to anyone who you think would require hearing my vent today. Because y'all, I'm angry too. I really am. And this is my way of, I don't know, pushing out some sort of positivity and wake up call. What's yours? Let me know. Because this is it. This is it for me. This is not at all the video that I wanted to make today. I wanted to have some fun with y'all. And yet here I am. I'm gonna go touch some grass. For what it's worth, I do love y'all, and I'm really genuinely thankful for my community, and I'm so sorry to those of y'all whom have been so hurt that you feel the need right now to inflict pain on others. I just hope that you find the healing and the peace within yourself as well, so that we can make this world a better place for us all, because we all deserve it. Take care, Soul Fam. This is it for me today. We're gonna come in with a much more fun video next week, I hope. Stay strong. I love y'all. Peace.